two of my favorite people.
Hey, mine too.
Well, hello, beautiful. I'm
Hi.
having problems. I'm freezing.
Oh no.
Let me tell you what's the problem. I have new fiber optics and I'm right here by the thing. I'm trying to think, should I hardwire?
Mhm.
Right.
I can't put this light on, then it look like I'm have the light from heaven shining.
Well, you are an angel, Rachel, so.
Thank you,
Right.
love. Thank you, love. Oh, at least my adoring fans are here tonight. Let's see.
Right.
I'm a little frustrated. I'm here by my grandson's IKEA.
And
IKEA
so,
Kitchen.
you know, you have to go with the person who.
I like it.
Yeah, that was a October present, not a Christmas present. Just a I love you and you're amazing and
As
Those
it
are the
should be.
best.
yeah. So I guess I'm
How are you?
freezing less.
Yeah. I haven't seen you freezing.
Listen, so it's dark
How are you
right.
doing?
That good? Oh. All
My
right.
brain is not in agreement with everything I needed to do right now. So yeah,
You're not alone. Don't feel like you're alone in that.
I'm not working right now, but I had so many house things I had to get done. Like I had like 12 loads of laundry. Please judge me. Yes, like little loads and hi, hey Heidi, hey Dr. Sonita, cousin Carla.
Carla, you are muted if you're talking to us.
I'm gonna put my.
I think Rachel did that to you.
It's completely in the wrong place because this is Zoom. I don't know if you know.
This is Microsoft Teams, right? Yeah.
Oh yes, I'm aware. Rachel, you've got a very interesting black and white vibe with just blue. It's kind of the magical.
Otherwise, it's the angelic
Oh,
host.
jeez.
I'm in the corner in the chocolate room that I don't like, the chocolate room. So chocolate on chocolate and blue. Chocolate, and blue.
Don't worry, there's no chocolate. There's just gray. Just gray. All gray.
It's okay.
It's all good, Rachel. You're
Okay.
amongst friends.
So I'm right here by, so I shouldn't freeze as much. Okay, so
Hello.
hello.
Wow.
Hey Jen. Hey Dr. Shelley.
Hello, humans. I love y'all, you know.
I love you. We love you more. We thank you. Appreciate you. Let me pull up my PowerPoint. Is there a place to share slides? I'm gonna go ahead and just put my things in so they'll already be in the
Yeah, we
shall
can
wait till more people
you should
jump
be able
on.
to you should be able to share content.
Okay, so in chat. Okay, so let me go ahead and do that. So that is done at the beginning. Okay, here we go.
Yep.
How do we do that? Where's the little?
And
Okay,
I'm not the queen. I think there's a number of us who are like
Everything's in the
Oh.
wrong place.
I can't. There's not a little clip to add anything like typical.
Hmm.
Oh my. Well, that's okay. I will maybe
For
respond
the
to
chat,
email. Yeah, I'm
are you
trying to
talking about
insert.
the chat?
Yes, I'm trying to insert documents into chat.
You should be able to hit the little plus sign
There's not a plus
and
sign.
then attach a file.
There's
No
three
plus.
little dots. There's no plus sign.
So
Okay.
you opened chat,
Yes, I'm there right now.
and do you see where it says like type a message at the bottom?
Yes, I see type a message.
What's under type a message?
Nothing. There's
no.
bold, italicize, underline, mark
There's
through.
nothing for file. I just looked through all of them.
Okay, here's
I
what
got-
Oh,
I see a plus sign.
I have a plus sign. I just put one in the chat there. It's like
There
a
is
picture of
plus-
what I
yeah,
see.
there is a plus sign.
Okay, we're
Use the plus sign before
see,
the send
okay.
sign.
I'm on the app and I don't have a plus sign.
I'm on the
I'm on the app too.
I'm on
If
the
you want-
desktop app.
desktop app. I see bold, italics, underscore, mark through, the 3 dots for like, you
If you
know.
want to
Oh,
email them to
no,
me,
no,
I
no.
can. Go ahead. Sorry.
Are you at the top?
Sorry, I was going to say if you take just, it should be underneath that because now I see if I click in there, it says bold, underlined, italic,
Right.
da da da, type a message. But beside that little A, and the smiley face, do you have smiley face?
I see a little, you can write
Yeah,
something,
there's
type of
3
message.
dots.
Or yeah, if you just want to email it. Sorry, I'm
There's
making
no
this more
plus on mine
complicated.
either. Just,
Sorry, okay.
just for sanity check. I have the
Okay.
smiley face and the 3 dots, no plus.
Okay, all right, I'll just go ahead. So, I've never really used Teams before. It's all right.
Sorry, I missed that part. What are you guys looking for?
How to attach files in Zoom is very easy to attach
Oh, okay.
files.
Mm-hmm.
She does not have the plus sign in the message, and neither does Carla. So they must be using a different version.
There, I copied what I was able to copy and
Oh.
paste. So I took a little screenshot and that's what I've got. That may be what Rachel has.
Oh.
And if you click the 3 dots, you do not get a plus sign.
Well, let's try go to the chat box. Go to the chat box and then there is a plus sign.
No,
I
no,
don't
there's
have
not.
one.
Not on, see, I just put a screenshot in the chat to show you what mine looks like. There's no plus. I promise.
Yeah, mine looks a little mine looks different from yours, Carla. So it's okay. Well, it's
And
all
I
right. I'll
updated
just.
that. I just updated the app. It downloaded a new version. So
Oh, okay. It's no big deal. I'm going to go ahead. I'll just. I do have a PDF of my slides. I will definitely put those in, and I will also, as a PowerPoint, and then I'll also just kind of share the handout with you, show you the handout. And I'll just make sure I get it to Danielle and she'll have it for you. No problems. Blessed are the flexible, for they shall not break. My life mantra.
If you want to email those, Rachel, I can drop them in the chat. Or Shelly. I know Shelly said you can send them to her and she'll email them out. Whatever
Okay.
you want.
Yeah, okay. I can't do that right now because it'll
Whatever.
it'll
Later.
trigger anxiety. So
Later is
I'll do
fine.
it after I'm finished, and then
Yeah, it's okay.
I just know me. I know how I'm wired.
I
Which
know
is
you're
what I'm
gonna be the
talking about.
best.
Yes. Okay, here we go. I'm waiting for everything slow. I'm in the corner. I put myself in timeout today. So, all right. All right. All right. I am ready to go. Let me know when I can share my slides. Who has that ability to give me permission or?
Go ahead, friend.
Okay.
Or does it?
All right.
can
I'm
you
just
change
trying
the
to.
share? Does it share?
Okay. I'm just trying to figure out. All right. Where's the share? I'm sorry.
top right.
Top right. Oh, thanks, cousin.
No problem. Everything's in a different place.
Right. That's what, yeah. Slideshow from the beginning. Can everyone see my slides?
Yes.
All right. Good evening, everyone. I'm Rachel Anderson. As most of you already know, I'm a 4th-year doctoral student. I'm at the point in the program where I am working on my comps. So I'm writing or attempting to write right now. And I'll be defending February 25th. So that's where the point I'm at. So I'm talking about navigating the doctoral experience with ADHD. And I've added a little tagline, how to thrive and not just survive. A little bit about my background for those of you who don't know. I'm a former mental health counselor. I got my bachelor's degree in marketing. Then I shifted gears. I became a mental health therapist, eventually a special education teacher, and then found myself as a licensed professional school counselor. And I love that. And I shifted from K-12. I became an adjunct professor. And then I started the student success coaching program at Ball State 3 years ago. I just left that position. And now I'm a full-time doctoral student. So let's see. It's moving slowly. Yeah. Okay. All right. Here we go. So I want you in the chat to put the emoji, I say, of the moment. So in the comment section, share the emoji that represents how you're feeling right now at this point in your EDD journey. Oops. Uh-oh, then I came out of my presentation. Carla, can you monitor the chat because I can't do both because I don't have my double screen, sorry. What are some of the emojis?
Yeah, we got one from Jenny. Let's see. I don't know how to describe that. Jackie, is that the brain kind of opening?
If you hover, it'll tell you. So it says exploding head.
Okay.
We have an
Okay.
upside down face. Surprised, cool. Of course, Joanne, you're cool. Zany face, and an awesome. Did I miss
Okay.
somebody?
That's cute.
So we have a full spectrum of emojis and how we're feeling at this journey. We're all on our individual paths, and it's been a unique experience. All right. So these are some of the emojis I've experienced throughout my time in the program, ups and downs, from hilarious times to a little bit of anger, frustration, mostly with myself, some sicknesses, some feelings of love. I started a relationship that ended abruptly because ain't nobody got time for that in a doctoral program. So there's a lot of different emotions. Um, so this is my meme of 2024. I used to always do this with my students. I would have them do an emoji. This was one of the, I guess, problems sometimes that individuals with ADHD experience are individuals or instructors who do not want to honor their accommodations. Now, this is my meme was cash me outside. How about that? Not that I would ever institute a fight with someone. I'm too old to be fighting. I'm almost 60 years old. No fighting going on. But I was just so frustrated and angry at being treated unfairly and unjustly. Never want to take advantage of my accommodations, but sometimes life is lifing, and there were so many things going on, and so I had to involve the Department of Disability Services to assist me in getting my accommodations. Again, this was an instructor outside of the ACE, so that is one of the frustrations and some things that do happen when we're navigating across departments. All right.
Sandra White, what does it mean that they did not honor your disability?
He told me you cannot have any more extensions. You can't have any more accommodations. Basically I've reached my maximum for the semester. So during the week of finals, he was not granting me any accommodations, and I had to get disability services involved. Yeah, unfortunately.
So Rachel, may I ask a couple questions?
Sure.
So through disability services, you have worked with them to get certain things that you can have or do throughout the semester. Is that
I'll just tell
correct?
you. I'll tell you, for example, some common accommodations for individuals with disability. Let's say undergrad to grad, or maybe extended times on a test. So instead of 1 point time, you may have time and a half. Some individuals have 2 point. It depends on their disability and the severity of their symptoms, because of distractibility, not being able to focus and attend. So for exams, for example, some individuals cannot focus on lectures and try to take notes. So some, especially undergrad students, may have note takers. So they'll pay a member of the class to basically sit in class and get paid to take notes, and they share them with the peer who is registered through disability services. Maybe extended time and flexibility with due dates on assignments. But our program is pretty generous because they know we're all working adults and have other life situations. So those are some common accommodations for students who are registered with disability service. Also, access to accessible technology. So for example, I am the type of person, I purchase my textbooks and we provide them with a receipt, and they will give us accessible text. So something that can be read to us, because that helps me attend. Otherwise, I'm all over the place, distracted, so I can hear. I can read out loud too, but sometimes just hearing it, having it read while I'm looking along with a journal article or something. So that's really beneficial. If they do not have audio versions for your textbooks available, they will take your beautiful, lovely books you pay so much for apart. They will scan them and then rebind them with like a spiral. That way you can have access. And I've had to do that a couple times. So those are some of the combinations. So here's where I'm at right now. Ooh, I said, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. It's a dumpster fire, however, but I'm still trying to let my light shine in this process. So there are times I say when the symptoms are in overdrive. There's maybe more distractibility, emotionality, because ADHD is a condition with a lot of emotions, and sometimes there may be a over, I don't want to say the overreacting, but the emotions can be big at times, you know. So something that may be small for someone, you know, sometimes I think it's pent up and, you know, you're maybe masking when you're in public, like, oh, that doesn't bother me, or someone says something, or you try to, you know, appear more, okay, neurotypical, and you try to maybe stuff your feelings sometime, and then, woo, look like the little volcano. So brain fog, overwhelm, self-doubt. Sometimes I feel like I cannot trust my brain. Like, okay, brain, are you going to remember? You have a due date? Or brain, are you going to remember to do this, do that? So here are sometimes I say ADHD symptoms sneak up on you. So like brain fog, like you see, you need your brain to wake up. Like, okay, I need to focus right now. I have to, you know, read this journal article. Or sometimes your brain goes on little adventures, and you know, you're attending to conversations that you're having instead of attending to your work. So these are some common things. Also, this is what I struggle with. Reading, you can read a whole passage but not then realize you forgot to understand. So it's like, okay, I have to reread this. That's why the audio with the paper copy is very beneficial to me. So I can at least attend. I may highlight or I may jot notes, but I have to do something because encoding. I remember I met with Dr. Gerald Cassidy my first semester because I did not have accommodations yet. And we were talking about encoding, because encoding is the problem with individuals with ADHD, the whole executive functioning and getting things to stick so you can recall and remember facts. So like I said, I read articles in Dr. Gigi's class. That was the fall of 2021. I got to reread because I can't remember them. So it's kind of a heavy lift sometimes academically. So 51st Days, I want to share with you about that. I had a situation recently that occurred to me. This movie, Drew Barrymore, the touchy-feely, she's always criticized for being touchy-feely on her talk show. She's in a relationship with Happy Gilmore, what's his name? Adam Sandler. And she has some type of memory disorder. And so basically he ends up marrying her. Oh, never mind. Just watch the movie, but he helps her remember who he is. And he has to go through all these things to help her and to ground her. Like, this is what's going on. I had this happen to me recently. I had an interview for a faculty position at Ivy Tech. And I was teaching a lesson. I was supposed to teach a lesson. They gave me the topic, not my preferred topic. And I sat there, and it wasn't the best setup. Like with ADHD, I have structure. I have to be organized. I have certain ways. I say, when I present, I'm going to do it this way. This is uncomfortable for me now, being in the dark, presenting. So I'm off my game, but I am in my own home. So that is at least beneficial. But I had to present. I was on campus, and they said, well, they had me sitting, and I'm used to standing with a lectern when I'm talking. It was just, and basically my brain erased. I could not remember the details, how to teach the lesson. So I didn't do too good on that, but I wowed them with my personality, but I didn't do well in the demonstration portion. But things just did not come together that day for me. So that happens sometimes. So here's some different science behind ADHD and memory, and why things can be impaired. So that is a big component. And when you have to, you know, remember details for journal articles. And that was a little bit of my anxiety. And I talked to Dr. Courtney Jarrett, who is on my chair. She is on my committee. I was talking to her about how am I going to do my defense, all the anxiety I was having around how am I going to be able to get this done. So she was very reassuring, and that was very helpful for me. So ADHD, people think that ADHD is just about trouble focusing or fidgeting. And I'm very hyperactive. I have combined type ADHD. So I'm hyperactive, I'm impulsive, I'm doing better with impulsivity, and I'm inattentive. So from not diagnosed in childhood, all of you already know that because I was a high performing student. And so they just gave me extra tasks to do. I jokingly say that Muncie school system owes me a whole entire year salary as a paraprofessional because I was my sixth grade teacher's student assistant. So her assistant, I should have gotten paid for that. So here's some of the things you may see, but it may be also show up as decision paralysis, like can't make a decision. Executive dysfunction, we talked about, the brain issues, hypersensitivity, like sensitivity to criticism. So, maybe a critique from a peer. This is how it could manifest. A critique from a peer could be taken, internalized, like, oh my gosh, they don't like me or whatever. Emotional dysregulation, sleeping problems. Sleeping problems is big. I think I have another slide about that. Very challenging because trying to have your brain stop, slow down so you can sleep. So I have some different strategies, which I will go into. Sometimes lacking the motivation. It has to be done, but it's like, oh, I'm not motivated to do it. And also low self-esteem, just the struggles that you struggle with, and it's like you just want to sometimes, not that I'm not mad the way I'm created or, how I'm wired, but sometimes it would just be nice to sit. For example, I do not just sit and read like novels and things like that. My sister is an avid reader. She can just sit there and go through a whole book series. I don't have the capacity for that, to just sit and read like, oh, this is a lovely story, so I'm more of a nonfiction person. If I'm going to read something, I want the facts and I want things I can use and implement. So again, it's retained in my memory. So these are just some different things. Oh, this is a big thing. Forgetting to eat, sleep, or go to the bathroom. Oh my gosh, I can't tell you the number of times forgetting to go to the bathroom, which was also reinforced when I was a K-12 teacher because sometimes you can't go to the bathroom. And so I'm like, oh, it's 4 o'clock. I haven't gone to the bathroom. So because you just ignore things. So yeah, time blindness also, just a lot of different things. Okay, so I love this. I found this today. I was so happy. Some strengths, the ADHD strengths iceberg. Having extra energy. I was told when I was in high school, my band director, he said, Rachel, if I had your energy, I would love to bottle it and sell it. I'd be a millionaire and retire from education. So having energy, being able to hyper focus, also having self-awareness. Sometimes that may be due to the fact of maybe engaging in therapy and just being more aware. And also sometimes looking at yourself in a critical way, like, okay, well, how do people think about that? You're just always kind of aware. And also with the energy, sometimes you don't want to be perceived as being too much, because I know I'm too much for some people. I know I am, and that's okay. I'm not people's cup of tea because I'm always excited. I really am naturally, generally an excited person, want to know what's going on in people's lives. So sometimes people are like, who is this? She's just too much. Being resilient, because you've learned how to be resilient over the years. My notes are not showing up. That's okay. Being resilient because having to work through difficulties and just persisting in the face of even setbacks sometimes, and having a sense of humor, the hallmark of ADHD. I said my first job aspiration was to be a comedian when I was younger. So, and I love this, how it's not your power, it's your power, not your flaw. So trying to reframe the ADHD experience. Any questions? Okay. All right, ADHD sometimes symptoms can put you on the struggle bus. I recently attended a workshop that was yesterday with Diane Wingert. She's an ADHD coach. It was for female entrepreneurs, and she was talking about some of these things. Like again, where we wear out others because of our intensity and energy, communication style, excessive talking, maybe interrupting, not trying to be rude, but it's like the thought is in my head. I have to get it out. Let's see. Sometimes information overload. You can like sometimes just reading the journal article, I have to take a break because there's so much information going to my brain. I love this, the unholy trinity of procrastination, perfectionism, and people pleasing. I think I'm over people pleasing, believe me, but still dealing with a little bit of perfectionism, of course, procrastination, and sometimes because the brain just shuts down. These are some symptoms that said lesser known for women. And I wanted to frame it this way because since women still the traditional roles women have in society, and the expectation of being the perfect house, homekeeper, the perfect mom, the perfect whatever, so a lot of these things, internalized feelings of shame and inadequacy and guilt. I remember when I was became a parent at 35, I was always scared. I'm like, oh my gosh, I know I have ADHD. Will I leave my kid in the car because I forget I have a kid? I'm just saying things like that, but just always being hyper vigilant about having to do my best, having to be kind of a perfect mom and present as a perfect parent. Here's some tips. Understand your unique traits, identify and use your strengths. Again, there are a lot of things, the creativity and all those things that come with ADHD, and use those things, especially as we're pursuing our, area of research. Experiment, find out what works. I've tried to implement systems. I'm like, okay, that works for somebody, doesn't work for me, especially like organization. I love to organize. Oh my gosh. Maybe I'll eventually be a home organizer. I love organizing and categorizing things, but I see some of those individuals on YouTube. And I'm like, how can they do that? I'll try to implement things. Doesn't work for me. So just knowing what works for you, especially trying to organize my materials, my journal articles. I have to keep paper copies, also digitally. Also, create an ADHD friendly space. I just created a new home office and just trying to make sure that everything is set up for me for success, eliminate distractions, no extra clutter on my desk, things like that. Also, you have to let go of perfectionism. I mean, there's perfectionism. I like to say I like to strive for excellence, not perfectionism. Also, work on dropping the mask. This is a hard one. It's often individuals with ADHD, they do masks because you want to present as neurotypical. Like, for example, when I'm on Zooms, I tell myself, okay, Rachel, don't be hyper. Like, I try to have minimal distraction. I don't use fidgets. I've never been a fidget person, but maybe I need to use fidgets. I said, these people probably think I'm on drugs because I'm so hyperkinetic. So that's one thing, but we try to take your mask down, especially as the more you get to know people and you're in courses with them and you get to know them. And I think we're pretty accepting of each other. So also take regular time out. Self-care is really important. Do check-ins emotionally with yourself, practice mindfulness, things like that. Also says check for coexisting conditions because a lot of time individuals with ADHD may also have a learning disability like dyslexia, or they could have depression, different things. But it seems like anxiety tends to be a companion to ADHD because if you're running behind on something, or or you're not, let's see, you're running behind, or you just don't think you're making as much progress, then the anxiety kicks in. Make time for passions. I'm a crafter. I just discovered this a few years ago. So I am setting up a craft area in my room that maybe if I can unwind and do some crafting before bed, just something I can unwind and just let all that creativity out. And also surround yourself with support is a really key thing as well. All right, again, this was taken from the workshop I just completed yesterday, a webinar on the neurodivergent female entrepreneur. I love this. The 3 foundations we all need: support and community. That's the main thing. Coping tools to deal with the overwhelm and emotional dysregulation. And this is a big one: structures and systems in place. You have to have structures and symptoms to be successful as a doctoral student. Here are a few things. The idea of parking lot. I always jokingly tell Carla that she goes off on bunny trails. So that's one thing. Time blocking. So, I'm going to be working on reading this journal article at this time. So that way you can be accountable with your time. The main thing is delegating. I try to delegate different things. For example, we had a big family gathering, a legacy celebration for my parents in December. But my sister took care of some details, so I wouldn't have to take care of details, like communicating with my niece who was coordinated. That was one less thing on my plate. Like she said, hey, Aunt Rachel is busy. She's working on her chapters or her dissertation. Please, direct all communication to me. So that's delegating just different tasks was beneficial. But remember, time. Time is your most valuable commodity, especially with all of us and what we're doing. So again, let's see. Radical self-acceptance creates a sense of self-trust. And so that's something I'm learning, just to accept how I am, who I am, and I said to be the best version that I can be of me. Again, ways to help make deadlines for yourself, because sometimes if there's not a sense of urgency, that can fuel procrastination. So sometimes I impose deadlines on myself, like, hey, you have to have the leadership question completed by 5 p.m. on Friday, whatever. That way I have this sense of a deadline, and that makes me procrastinate less. Create a quiet space to think and complete projects without distractions. I have to have a quiet working spot. I can't even really have instrumental music sometimes in the background because I get distracted very easily. Make to-do lists or utilize a planner. Sometimes planners aren't really an ADHD person's friends unless they're the bullet journal type. And this is a good one. I do this as well. Store a pen and paper in my nightstand. So if I do have to brain dump to get things down, so I will able to get a good night's sleep and not obsess about something. Also, this is very good. Set a timer for specific tasks. I always set timers. I live by my timers. When I'm working, I set my timers for any kind of work break that I'm taking, so I will not go over. I also change positions, so I don't sit at my desk if I'm taking a work break. No, I sit in a different area of my home, so my brain knows I'm relaxed. I probably get on my recliner, I prop it up, and that way, my brain knows, hey, enjoy yourself. You worked hard. This is one of my favorite psychiatrists, Dr. Tracy Marks, who has ADHD. She has some phenomenal videos, not only on ADHD, but bipolar disorder and all type of disorders. And she makes things so understandable. So this is my favorite. And she said ADHD is a disorder that creates negative consequences. You can manage the negative consequences, but you are not the negative consequences. You're separate from them and have the ability to take control and manage them. This was one of the most powerful videos, honestly, I've seen in the last year or so. It was so powerful. I sent it to some of my friends. They cried. I sent it to my sister, so she kind of understand me because she's very high achieving, like, Phi Beta Kappa, graduated from college with a 4.0, in 3 years, was a foreign exchange. She was just like blew us all out of the water. So to let her understand how my brain is wired and how she can support me. So that's been really beneficial even to our relationship. Here's another good person, Mel Robbins. She's a life coach, and she was also diagnosed with ADHD recently. So I love all of these 40 somethings and over who are diagnosed. High achieving women and men, but they're diagnosed later in life, and it just answers so many questions and make them feel like finally I have an answer. So this is the dump, and here's a brain dump activity I do it with my students as well. Teach them how to do this. So here we go. We write down everything that's going on, and then I do my top 3. What has to be done? What's easy to get done? And then the next 3. That way I can kind of do a hierarchy so I can make sure I accomplish all my tasks. All right. Put a little humor. Since I used to be a K-12 teacher, vocabulary. We have homie. The plural is homies, an acquaintance from one's town or neighborhood or member of one's peer group or gang, or maybe cohort. All of us are homies. So basically you need a network system. That's the whole thing. You need a network system if you're going to be in a doctoral program. So that's very important. So who's in your network? So when you arrive to your 700 level classes, you write your letter to self about your dissertation journey, and you will identify members of your support network who are also your faculty members. They're good members of your support network as well. Here's a quote from, as a very young, Kelly Clarkson. Said, my friends and family are my support system. They tell me what I need to hear, not what I want to hear. And they're there with me in the good and bad times. So that's it. You need someone who's for accountability, who's going to tell you the truth. That way that's more helpful and beneficial to you. And here's a big thing too. Dealing with ADHD, we talk about imposter syndrome and things like that, but these cognitive distortions, that's a big thing. These irrational, distorted thought patterns that skew your perception of reality. And a lot of negative self-talk also comes with ADHD. And for example, it's all or nothing thinking, like, okay, I missed a deadline. Why am I even in a doctoral program? I'm not even fit to be in a doctoral program. No, I just missed a deadline. I got an extension. Overgeneralizing. Catastrophizing. Oh my gosh, I'm never going to complete these comp questions, things like that. Mind reading, should statements. Well, you should have done this or that. So here's some ways. I say you have to flip it. And here's some challenges to cognitive distortions. Am I overgeneralizing? Am I assuming the worst? Am I blaming myself unnecessarily? Here's my big one. What would you say to a friend in this situation? If would I offer compassion and grace to a friend? Sometimes we do that more so than to ourselves. Also, what is your why? Sometimes if we return to our why or our purpose for pursuing this terminal degree, that is beneficial in keeping motivation and keeping us, me with ADHD, focused on why did you start this journey, Rachel? What do you want to do? So that is very beneficial. And this is my why. This is an artist, Gilbert Young. He is a Cincinnati native, I believe. I lived in Cincinnati for 20 years. I think I met him one time at some Black History event. The gospel choir from campus was singing. But I love this. And this is interesting. I didn't know this until I looked it up. In 2021, He Ain't Heavy is the longest selling, most recognizable work of art in Black art history. And it's a symbol of social responsibility. So he says that he created to express whoever you are, wherever you are in life, you have the ability to reach back and help someone else. You're obligated to do it. That's why I came back to Muncie, Indiana, my hometown, while my son's pursuing his architecture program. I said, I'll pursue a doctorate degree so I can help my community and lift up my community. So I go back to my why when I'm discouraged or just when I need an extra little boost. And remember, to leverage your strengths and minimize your struggles, brain dump and prioritizing, stay organized to avoid that feeling of overwhelm, stay grounded, your spirituality, mindfulness, and just gratitude, having an attitude of gratitude. I am thankful to be here. I'm gonna say be here in a country even that allow women to be educated. I'm thankful that I'm at a point in history where me, even as a Black woman, I can get an advanced degree. There's no, I'm the first. No, I'm not the first, so all those types of things. And also return to your why in difficult times and utilize your support systems. Thank you so much. And stop sharing. Questions? Let me, that's stop. Okay. Points of repetition or rebuttal?
Sandra put a question in the
Okay. Let me go to
chat.
chat. Okay. More. Okay, where's chat? I'm sorry, I'm struggling with this app.
I'll read it to you.
Thank you, cousin.
Sandra asks, do you believe there's a large segment of society that is undiagnosed?
Yes, I believe there's a large segment. And like they just say, oh, they're a little bit quirky, a little bit quirky, but then when you see how it impacts, because there are negative consequences also. So you have to learn, some people are quirky, and that's just how some people are quirkiness, but ADHD comes with things that could really, so for example, I forgot one time as a parent, and this was the most, I'm gonna be transparent. I forgot to pay my electric bill. I had money, but I was a school counselor. I just was busy, taking my son to soccer, his friends to soccer, and I forgot to pay my bill. So what's the negative consequence? My electric cut off. And my sister was like, but she didn't know. I said, Becky, with my ADHD, I forget to do things sometimes. Well, I know she's a retired financial accountant and financial analyst. So I have my Excel spreadsheet, and every month I keep track of every cent I spend. You're living in a parallel universe. I love you, but you're in a parallel universe, sweetie. You know what I'm saying? So things like that. So if there's negative consequences, like academic underperformance and things like that, but there's a whole segment, yes, especially women, because if they're more inattentive, oh, they're just a quiet, shy girl, but they may be like, withdrawn, but they have ADHD and are just quiet, and just kind of people dismiss them because they're just quiet and they don't get the services and support they need. Any other questions?
Rachel, are there different types of ADHD?
Yes. There is predominantly inattentive, predominantly like the hyperactive, impulsive, and there's combined. Most people kind of have the combined. Yeah. So symptoms. It was so funny when I was diagnosed. I'm like, I can't have every symptom, can I? But I had so many of them, but you have to have a certain number from one category and another category, and then that's how that determines. But they are looking at diagnosing women a little bit differently, and also you have not having to have the five or the maximum number. And so Dr. Russell Broccoli, who's a leading expert in ADHD, he's saying with adults, there may be a little bit different because again, you have learned strategies for mitigating the negative consequences through the years and, compensatory behavior. I think that's what they call them in special ed, that you've learned how to cope. So you have these coping skills. So you may not have as many because you've learned all these skills and you've repeated them to be successful. That's all I have. If no one else has any more questions, I do have a worksheet. I'll just let me try to pull it up real quick. Hold on one moment. Oops. Oh, I did not stop. Okay, hold on a second. Okay, I did stop sharing. Okay, let me pull this up. I call it ADHD resources. I have a share, maybe. I don't know what happened. Did it share? No. Yes. No sharing. Did you see something up here? Well, basically, oh, there it is. Oh, okay. Can you see the ADHD iceberg on there?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. This is the handout I'm going to send. So I had both of the handouts. So the iceberg and the strength iceberg, along with a few YouTube content creators, Dr. Tracy Marks, and she does a good job of categorizing them. Amazing. Dr. Russell Barkley, he's a clinical psychologist. He's written a lot of research. He's done a lot of research, written books, and on childhood ADHD, adult ADHD, and he has a podcast. Anytime there's a new peer referee article that comes out, he talks about it on his show, which is kind of amazing. So I get some good information from there. There's the ADHD dude, Rex Wexelblatt. Then on the other page, How to ADHD, and there's a book of the same title by Jessica McCabe. She's a YouTuber and she's really popular, just giving practical day-to-day things on productivity, relationships, and self-care. And then Dr. Edward Ned Hollowell, he wrote the book Driven to Distraction, Delivered from Distraction. He is an individual, a medical doctor, psychiatrist with ADHD. And then there's some other podcasters. They both have ADHD. Mel Robbins, Diane Wingert, the person who I saw yesterday on a podcast, and she does a lot of executive coaching for female entrepreneurs. So I'm going to send that as well to Dr. Shelley. And stop sharing. That's all. But it takes a village to raise a classmate with ADHD. Just kidding. But no, we need each other. And just the peer support has been beneficial for me in my journey in the doctoral program. There's a gospel song that says, never would have made it without you. You know what I'm saying? But seriously, it's been very beneficial. Even though we're not in a cohort model, but at the end, you kind of fall into a cohort. So I'm really appreciative to all of you all for your patience, your tolerance, and all types of things. But you guys are amazing. And I want to encourage you in your journey and your dissertation journey as well. Thank you so much.
Great job, Rachel. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Samia.
Wait, can I ask her one question just really quick?
Sure.
Because I forgot to unmute myself before and I was talking to the air, and the cake that I was making, that's a total failure. So I just wanted to ask, Rachel, the reason I was interested in listening tonight is because I do a lot of work with entrepreneurs. And sometimes I have a feeling that they might need some type of accommodation because of the fact that, they're presenting with, talking over me and things like that. Now, that's not necessarily, I know, a determination of ADHD, but I'm just wondering, is it like offensive to ask somebody, do you need an accommodation in situation? I mean, would you feel offended if you didn't tell somebody that you didn't need an accommodation and then somebody asked you?
I don't believe I would get offended. I'm really not offended by much. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
But or say if someone would like stop, like, hey, can you let me speak? This recently happened to me. Someone was giving me advice, but I was talking because I was defending myself. I felt defensive. Even though I asked her for some input, but then I felt I had to defend because I had to explain. And it was probably I was having some some emotionality because I felt kind of threatened by the situation. So I was trying to explain. She said, "Well, you're talking over me." I'm like, "That's an ADHD thing. That's what we do. Sorry." But I'm just trying to explain the intensity because she couldn't understand the intensity of the feelings I'm feeling, but she kind of, it was kind of dismissive as well. I'm like, no, you're not understanding me and how I'm experiencing. I'm experiencing here, and she thought it should have been here, but no, I'm experiencing here because you know why? Because I've stuffed and masked for so long. So now it's here. So we're dealing with it here, and you're trying to deal with it here. I'm way past that. So, but just asking, hey, is there anything, say, especially if you're going back and forth. So here's, and it may be due to if they're going to forget something. So I say, is there anything, like I want to talk, I'm going to give you some information. If there's anything you want to chime in, just jot it down. I always have a piece of paper when I'm in meetings, so I can just jot things down to come back to. So if it's a chronic kind of thing, so hey, I know last time we had some problems, I want to make sure I'm not interrupted this time. Can you maybe just, take a little piece of paper and jot some things down? That way you'll be able to give your input as well or something like that.
Okay, I was just curious
Yeah.
because usually what I say is like, let's take turns talking and
Yeah.
let me listen to what you have to say and then I can respond to that. And
How's that go over?
how does it go over? Usually it goes over okay. I mean,
I
sometimes
wouldn't be
people,
offended by that.
yeah. I mean, I think it's okay, but I would really like to be aware, and I don't know how I would feel if somebody said, "Do you need an accommodation?" If I was just having like a off day or something. Do you know what I mean? So that's why I wanted to ask, when you're talking to people and you don't know their history, but you have some suspicion that maybe something's going on, if it would be offensive to ask. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Or maybe make it universal design and ask everyone, hey, are there any accommodations that you need to make sure our time working together will be more beneficial and, flow better?
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. And now, all the way from Italy, I don't know what town you're from. It is Martina. I will give her a hand.
Thank you, Rachel. Well, the topic I will explore today is a bit less, exciting, but very useful because it's about analyzing your data when you're going to be in the step of the dissertation where when you're going to have all your data ready for you to kind of untangle and trying to understand. So what I'm going to do is just very practical because I believe none of you have access to Dell. While I'm still currently uh, paying for that because I'm even if I'm writing my chapter 5, I still need to kind of sometimes look back at my data, or I've not done so much recently, but I just want to have it just there because it's all online and it's automatically saved. So I'm also going to maybe start right now before I share with you my screen and I share the app and all the transcripts. I'm going to tell you why I decided to use Delph, why I came out with Delph. So I first started trying, just basically, Excel, try to put all my data, try to use, just try with one interview. And then I just realized that it didn't work out for me. It became too very clunky, very hard to maneuver the data, even just with one interview. And just because I have 11 participants, so 11 interview and 2 rounds, so that makes 22. I need to have a system in my mind, but also a structured system where I can go back to the data and easily access what I need, right? So that's how I decided that Excel was not for me, and then I went into, Google. That's what does Google tell me? Of course, there are many other software available. I actually started first with Maxwell, and then I realized it's too complicated. So if somebody else, Shelly or like, or even anybody else, I wanted to have a system that is clear, accessible, that you can really easily catch on very fast with me. And it's not very, I would say, nuanced in terms of things that you can add on it. It's just like more straightforward. So at the end of me showing how I use it, I will share 2 videos with you. One is about Delph. They created multiple apps, and the other one is so they created their own, series of videos. And then there is a YouTube one that's basically the co-founder just share a long video about how to use it. So that's how I started. I just look at them, but then it was mainly just using it and work with that, play with that. Again, I didn't use everything the app offers, but just what I needed. So I'm going to share. Let's see if I do that. So are you guys seeing my screen? Can you see that I'm in Delph? Yes? Okay.
Yes.
So basically, let's go from the beginning. I go into Delph, and of course you need to, they have a 14 days trial you can use. And I guess it's exactly what it says. The goal is to analyze mainly qualitative data in an easy way. So they're going to show you, like, of course, the overview, like just the general first page. When you get into that, what is a little bit about, they explain you how you can use it. They have also AI feature that, of course, I'm not really, I didn't pay attention to that. And then they have, little explanation, little guide. But I think watching the video was like very intuitive for me. So they really have a really good, starting point in their when you first exit the app. So in my case, I just get into the app and automatically I get into that. Also, it has a cost. I was ready to have this cost just because I have a lot of data, and at least it was a lot for me. So I wanted something that could be, helpful. So it's $18 per month. And of course, you can also, there is a nice thing that you can do. I'm going to cover this. Here at the bottom right, there is a chat. So sort of as, can you help me, like an AI agent? But you can also message. So I've been messaging in the past with the creator, and they gave me an option to, if I want to have, for example, a survey with them, or like just like an interaction with them, half an hour, they would waive me 1 month. They would give me 1 month for free. So there are like ways to kind of go around with that. I'm planning to keep it until my dissertation is done, and then go from there. So what I did was, I have my interview. I cleaned them, not in this app, but just in Word. So I really started kind of doing some thematic analysis with Word, but of course it's not a, great way to go about it, but it was helpful at the beginning to clean the data. I don't think I cleaned them so perfectly because I really wanted to leave some authenticity of the interviews. So that's why probably if you see here my interviews, they're still like a little bit rough or a little bit raw, let's say, because I just wanted to keep that authenticity. Then in my dissertation, I actually ended up cleaning the quotes a lot more, especially recently. So of course everything for me it's already a little built, let's say, but it's simple and straightforward the way you go about it. On the left, you can create your project. I didn't put my entire title of my dissertation, just put round trip, and you can edit here. Of course, in your case, will be create a new project. It's when you can entitle your project. The way a lot of people, I think, use this Delve is because they can work with other people, but they, at the same time. So it's a really good tool if you're like analyzing data and there are like multiple people working on the same project. The only thing is that if somebody else gets into this project or analyzes as well, they will also need to, have a pay for that. So the best way would be if you're just working your dissertation, you can just share the screen. I mean, in real time, or like what I'm doing, or just have a look with that person, or give the username of your project, of your access to Delve. um, so I imported all my transcripts one by one. So here they're like the name, the pseudonym of my participants. So I imported one by one, but then I have all of them right here. So for example, Abigail, if I start with the first one, let's say I just added. So if you want to add a transcript, you just click on transcript and you copy and paste the transcript, or even easily you can add and drop it, drag and drop it, and then you can entitle your transcript. You see, it's a very simple interface. So here is where you put all your transcripts. I don't have surveys, so I've not explored the survey option. I believe that could be helpful, but it's mainly, qualitative. Again, here you can have the AI chat, and then I will go through this later. But let's start, for example, I have my Abigail transcript, and what I basically was using the app for was to start, coding. Like I coded a lot by paragraph, sometimes by certain sentences or that I found useful. At first I started with maybe coding, values like or emotions. I coded a lot by this as well. But at some point I was doing more like comprehensive type of coding, paragraph to just grab a little bit the meaning of it. So as you see, this part is like paragraph, it's highlighted. And if I click on that, I can see where it goes because I created the code. And for example, I have introduction of all my participants. I put all the introduction in one code. So it doesn't code for meaning, but it was just to have all the information about, where, more biographical, let's say, in one setting. So for me, it was helpful for me whenever I had to write my, like the background, like the story or like of my participants. But the way you code it basically is that, for example, you have, you highlight what you think is your code, and then you go on the right where there are codes, and you either search for the code or you create a code from scratch. So let me create one. For example, family, I don't know. You create a code, then I can cancel it, of course, delete that. So you create the code family, or you can also search for a code that you already have as well. So in my case, I just created one, let's say family. I just go a bit randomly, and then on this side, on the right side, you have this like edit button. bottom, but that has 3 rows. You can see the details, so it gets you on the code. So in this way, you can see all the transcripts, all the quotes, that all the paragraphs, all the parts that relate to this code. Okay, I will go back to that later. The second option is to rename. So basically you decide this code is not what it is anymore. It's changing meaning. I'm going to call it different. I'm going to call it parents. I don't know. So that's what you can do with it. And then I decide this code is not, doesn't work anymore. It's like, not meaningful. I just delete it. So they give you the option to delete it, and then you can say, yes, I delete it. So in this case, I don't want to delete it because I want to show you more details. Again, in my code that has only one, item, you can see where it appears. You can see to which transcript it relates to. And here you can write the description of thought about this code. This is whenever you have like 20, 25 in the same code, let's say, you can really have it becomes really overview like of the code itself, like some ideas that you can write on later on for your findings, for example, whenever you are trying to get the themes out of it. And then you will have the list. I have to say I've not used this part as much because then I was just writing on my chapter somehow, but I have a lot of memos here for each passage that would either summarize or provide the main details of that quote, of that part of the interview I found interesting. So here you just type and you just automatically, say whatever you think is good. I will show it one of my example, like real. And here you can add the memo. So you can, for example, tell more about the code you are thinking about, and you can write something. The only thing is that when you add a memo, that I noticed, like you decide you add that, I don't know, I didn't find a way to edit. So there was a suggestion given to the founders, the group of people came to it, that I had a lot to rewrite the memo. So that was very annoying because then you have to cancel it. Yes, I have to delete and rewrite. You can write multiple. Sometimes I have 2, 3. Of course, whenever I thought about, how to code and everything, I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to do many different ways. I just got into like the different, Saldana's book, but then I need to do my way because I need to keep this going and I need to, accomplish this, right? I need to accomplish this analysis. So I have a question, like, are you following me? It's like, it's clear enough. Does it make sense, the process for you that I'm using, that I'm showing you? Do you have any questions? I'm out of the... No questions for now? So let me go back to this. So I will delete this code. Let me go back to the codes part. There is also another way to, if you click on this, you can have codes on portrayed in this manner, but I just chose one way to go about it, and this way was clear that way. But that's like a little different option. Snippet, I never really use it because I didn't see it. It gave me like an extra tool to do anything. So I just keep using transcripts and codes. Of course, here you see my themes at this point that were codes. So there are many, but there used to be way more because I merged many codes into each other because I needed to come up with, less codes and build a team. So of course, I reduced them a lot. There used to be that all the codes had the same kind of priority or like the same weight. But for me to come up with the teams, I needed to put some codes into some teams, right? So for example, again, this is not perfect, but it worked well for me. I can show you maybe racial background. In my case, there are a lot of, all my participants, they come from, they were the majority in their country and they became minority in the US. Then I put also power imbalance and also gender. Even it's not related to racial background, but I didn't really focus on gender. So for me, it made sense to make it here. So here a way to, for example, move codes around is to take this one and move it either down or, or up. You can also merge. So for example, I want to merge, let's say, power imbalance with from majority to minority. If you see that there is a merge button, so you can definitely let me do that. I can merge. Sure, I will merge it for now. And what you are going to see is that in details, or even like rename, you're going to see both of the codes. So you're going to see power imbalance and from majority to minority. And all the, different quotes or different paragraphs are going to be all together. So I merge them, and then so they're going to be all together. You can have multiple codes within the same theme, and also you can kind of hide these themes. So for example, there is some time where I don't want to see, each of them, what each theme includes. So I just close all of them to have like a more, bigger overview. So I just hide all of it, but then you can open them back, just clicking on the bottom. So that's how I eventually later on merge teams together and like within a bigger team. And again, like how, for example, there are a lot of codes into this team. How did I make this code bigger? It's just like you move them kind of close. It's hard to explain. You kind of need to do it. If you move the code underneath that and slightly to the right, it's going to be under it. In this case, it's already there. Maybe harder to show that to you. But for example, if I want to put mentorship under it in this bigger team, I just slide it up. Because what happens is that whenever you create a code, it's going to look like this, and then you have your subcodes, let's say, that you create later on and that you can put inside each bigger team. So let me maybe choose one. Let's see. For example, these themes is let's say cultural background. So cultural background as 58 parts within that, and I want to see the details. So again, this is a bit more, bigger one. So I have cultural background. It appears in 21 out of 22 transcripts, and it's going to show me in how many transcripts the theme of cultural background appeared. And here I made some notes. I could have done more, but all my kind of memos went on my chapter. So that's where I kind of summarize everything. But if you see, I have like lot of writing for a lot of paragraph for each of them. And in the memo, I kind of summarize what this code was about, or just kind of get the gist out of it. So the codes are going to be organized in the chronological order, so in the way you coded them. So you can even see the date down here. You cannot really move them around as much, I have to say. So that's maybe one of the advantage of having a more easy or like simple platform, is that you cannot move this around as much. So in some of them I had, I put together a lot just to kind of made sense in that way. And then of course that was helpful because you can go through each of them. Let me see, for example, if I choose this one, I'm able to go back to the transcript by clicking on transcript about Jean. So I can go back to the highlighted yellow part, right? So if I go back, and then I can go back to see details. So whenever you click on the transcript by Nodra, for example, I can go back to that specific transcript. Let me see. Here you cannot really delete. For example, you don't want this anymore under cultural background. Realize what I'm talking about here. Now it's not related anymore. I don't know why I added. Maybe I did by mistake, because of course it happens. You cannot do it here. You need to go back to the transcript. So you go back to the transcript and you delete it. I'm not going to do it now, but you can delete it here because you kind of you're trying to edit the you try to edit the code, let's say. So you can delete that. Sometimes, and this was maybe another critic to the software, was that when you cancel one, it goes down to maybe 55 or 54. It's not deleting anything else you have. It's just like a way for the software to restructure. And it happened to me, and I just got a little bit scared because, they're like getting codes out of my, the way I structured, the way I organized that. But the times then I checked through it in much smaller codes, I was able to realize that no, nothing was missing. It's just, I think the platform that is trying to reupdate somehow, but they don't delete anything. So if there is, you delete one, but then it goes down to 55, don't worry. That's something that could be improved on the platform. And of course, to me, happened so many times. There is also an option here on the left under, for example, the R I call the researcher RA, to edit. So you can literally re-edit even here your own transcript. Again, I decided to keep them not perfectly clean. So but you can, and I did multiple times when I realized this needs to move over. So you can do it in every space, in every part of the transcript. The nice thing is that they also still show you, at least I kept it the time, so I could see at what time, which part of the interview that answer was asked, or those questions were answered. So yeah, that's a little bit about how I'm using the code. How I'm using Delve. anything else that have been using. Here, I don't know, you can search your code, just like you don't remember which one you want. And the advantage is that you click on a code and you have everything you've done organized. So for me, it was easier to go back whenever I was writing my chapter 4. You can share here, so you can share with an email. You can invite someone. Again, you can share their email address, but again, if you invite someone, they will also be responsible to pay for that because it's like a collaborative work. That's how they use this platform a lot, and I didn't know. You can export transcripts. You can, of course, you can export transcript with codes as well. I didn't do that as much because I didn't. Probably I will do it if I decide to not have access anymore to this platform. At least I have, you know, a reference of all my codes. Here you can also delete transcript if you would like. If you would like to. Let me see. And the nice thing is that you can move very easily from one transcript to the other. And then, for example, yeah, even with Delve, it's if you have like a lot of things you put under the same code, it's still a lot to go through all of it down because it can get busy. So again, this is my way of using it, and it was helpful for me. I was happy with that. Again, I recognize it's not the most perfect tool, but it was a good tool, and I definitely recommend it. There is also another option here where you can see transcript and coding comparison, participant information, where you can add a descriptor. Yeah, those are other options, but I really try to kind of brainstorm by myself, like the comparison. But yeah, that was another, option. But I kept with the transcript and codes organization because I think visually it's the most I don't know, familiar to me, let's say. Of course, they have somehow AI chat, but I didn't look at it. So yeah, I think it's pretty simple. And do you have any questions? Are you thinking how you're going to use it for your own interviews?
I have a question. So I noticed it was a Microsoft 365 app. So I clicked it and I can I can pin it to my little short list. But when I click on it, I don't get anything but my profile information. It's sitting in the sidebar and I click Delve and it doesn't really launch the software. So I don't know if I have to install it or separately or exactly how, but I assume since it's part of our
Yeah. So it's not you don't really install because all the data are somehow on the web somehow. There are in the app itself. So I don't recall having downloaded. Did you maybe try a different browser? I think that's what I remember.
Carla, the Delve that was part of the Microsoft, it said Delve is retiring in 2055. There are other similar features in Microsoft apps. So,
2025 or
sorry,
2025?
2024. That one, 24. So I think because I was trying to do the same thing because I was like, oh, it's a Microsoft product, but what Martina was showing on the screen is different than the Microsoft 365, and then it says that when I just looked at it that they're not Microsoft 365 is no longer supporting Delve.
Well, it's still in
But the
the
different one.
different Delve.
Yes,
Oh,
so I did put the link to the app, and then I had also, well, you're going to see that, but these other videos. Oh no. So yeah, specifically from the company, let's say, and then the tutorial that the co-founder created as well.
so it's delve.com.
Yeah.
It's Delve Tool, Carla. Delve Tool.
Yeah.
Delve tool.
app.delvetool.com. Yep, .com.
Aha.
Maybe we're using definitely different version. Sorry, I did miss the question. How do you code from scratch? Is this different from how you will code with R software? Well, R is a quantitative, mainly used for quantitative analysis. This is more qualitative analysis. So yeah, I did code from scratch. I think the most important thing, and Shelly, tell me if I'm wrong, is really understanding how you want to code, and like Saldana book for coding is like where you should start whenever you embrace, the coding process. So that is going to really depend on your project. But this is a mainly qualitative analysis tool, differently from R. And I'm not so familiar with quantitative, using R for quantitative. In the past, I used SPSS. So, also, what do we seek to achieve with Delve? Making sense of your data, have like a overview, create team, and creating codes that can move to teams. So if you're doing your thematic analysis, you have and also not necessarily if you do thematic analysis, because I'm doing a little bit of restoring in my dissertation as well. Sorry, I'm doing restoring in combination with thematic analysis. So yeah, it can be helpful for whatever project where you are trying to come up with themes, especially if you have long interviews and extensive data. Did you use your ball state link to attain the discount? So I believe I did use, so to log in and to this one, I believe I used my personal Gmail for some reason. And then the discount does not the discount, I think, depend on, so for example, you are in the message and you decide to they will offer you, as soon as you're in the dev, they will offer you, do you want to meet with one of the organizer of this app and have a discussion, give me your feedback, and then they will probably just put you on your bank account the month off. So I don't think it's a discount. It's like the same for everybody. You get a discount only if you do the sort of meeting online, and they waive you 1 month. And I use my Gmail just in case.
Martina, there is apparently education pricing. So if you use your Ball State email, you can
yeah. So I
probably
believe.
get
Sorry. I think
education discount.
yeah. So yeah, I must have used that one then.
Which
I think I
get-
always want to
pay
use my
18 a
Gmail.
month. You pay 18 a month, right?
Yeah.
That's the education discount.
Yes. So I'm sorry. I tend to use Gmail, so my Gmail. So whenever I can, I do. But if, of course, you go with and I've done, I created like a while ago. So I may don't remember exactly what they
It
put, but
requires an education address, an EDU.
yeah, so you just put your Ball State then. Yes, because if it's for business, probably it's much more, or if it's for your individual. So you log in with your Ball State then.
And you said they had videos that were very helpful for you getting started.
Yeah, so for example, the let me go back to the videos. Yeah, so the videos are usually very short and simple. And then if you want to do more than what I showed you, I remember they would send me periodically specific video about specific features. For some reason, it's not charging, it's not loading. But yeah, let me go. I have it here. So here they provide you an introduction of qualitative coding, so more like basic information about qualitative coding. And here they show you how to code using Delve Delve tool. So a little bit about what I showed you, right? You can also subscribe to get any coding tips. And of course, they also offer a free trial. So, for example, you're doing a project for your class, or I know most of you are doing the comms, but for example, you have like a project in the meantime you want to do, or like you want to you have some free data for your interview. I don't know, you want to try, you can start your 14 days. There was some article about different type of analysis, but and here also they show you about the pricing, the coding software. They created this also video that is much longer, so it's not as quick. And it talks a little bit a lot of different steps on how to use the app and how to code. I think they're very supportive in the sense that when you email them in the chat, they respond pretty quickly. So again, and yeah, I forgot that you can get a 50% discount for the first 3 months. It's something to consider as well, but I would start with the free trial before getting into that. So they may be able to give you even more options, but literally what you really need the analysis for is what I showed you. You really need to try to make sense of what you have of your data, dividing in different codes, and then come up with some themes. So it's not that maybe maybe people think the platform is doing the job for you. No, I mean, you do the work, right? The app is just like a tool to structure or like organize your data without getting crazy. So that was the main reason why I used this tool. I just didn't want to get crazy with all the data. I just want to make the analysis and have, if I want to go back to these quotes, I know I can do it pretty quickly, pretty fast. Let me see, I think there was another question. So you can export your Delve data coding so you don't have to rely on the online app. Well, but the problem with that is that then your codes are like static, right? You cannot modify. So I think it's more something that you mostly do when you're done with that. When you're done with the process. Yeah, I will also need to at some point stop it, and I probably even before doing that, I will have a discussion with the organizer, the founders, and give me maybe more ideas on how to keep all the data without losing it. Or so it is something I will discuss. But
I have a question.
yeah, maybe I
Ooh,
can stop sharing for now since
okay, let me get my question back. Oh, Sandra put in the chat about you can export the Delve coding so you don't have to rely on the app, so you can download it and work offline. But is it best to work online because so that is
I didn't have any problem working online because you just like are on the app and it doesn't really need to save automatic. I mean, it save automatically anyway. So for me, it was better to use the app.
okay.
Mm,
But you can save a copy of your work just in case Microsoft imploded. I don't know. I'm kind of
I
not
know,
trusting
I know.
the cloud. Oh, God.
Rachel, because my attention span, sometimes I get fluttery like you do. And so I'll print it out. And then when I can't concentrate because I'm on a screen or I'm sitting too long, I can go and I can highlight things and then come right back and change them and then reprint them. So it's provides you with multiple abilities on how to work with the same type of data.
I think that was my I had to ask.
Mm. Yeah, I was trying to export now to see. I mean, it could be a tool for you again if you want to paste it. I don't think they do a really good job to whenever you put in a PDF and you export it to show the codes, even when you export with codes. So probably back then that's why I didn't do that. It just looked better to me on the app because I could see the codes constantly on my side. Has anybody already tried it, the free trial, or have
I
any
use it.
intention to use it?
I use it all the time. It's one of my favorite apps when the very first class I had with Dr. Gigi. And then she told me, she said, you're not supposed to use that first. You have to learn this way. Then you use the Dell, but it was too late. I said, well, now I can't go back. And she said, okay.
Is it your chicken?
Yes, it's my chicken.
But you're still, even though you're using the support of technology, you're still the coder. I remember I wrote that.
Yeah.
You're the coder. You're creating the codes. And like, hey, Dale, come up with all these.
Yeah,
No, you
no,
still have to
definitely
put the
no.
code in, and then it just helps for tabulation and things like that, and ease of coming up with things. But otherwise, you're still the coder.
Yes, exactly. I think it just is more visually organized.
That's very beneficial to.
I think that's very beneficial because you're going to do the job anyway, but at least it is like in a system. The system is helping you to have it clear. I mean, in your mind, and it's not never going to be messy unless you make it messy. And I made it messy a few different times, and that sometimes you don't know how to go back, but usually you just undo it. So I think watching that like intro video that is very short, and then more extensive video can give you a little bit more tools. But again, you're making the sense out of your data. You know, you're the person who knows your data the best. You, even before putting them into the system, you have read them, you have like, you know, cleaned them. You have already I should to say I started analyzing alpha the first round, you know, before using Delve. So I was already in the system, but then I realized it is getting a little bit too big. I need to use something else. So, oh, I had a lot of codes that I needed to recreate in Delve that were already created either, I don't remember, in Excel or in Word. So are there any other questions? Or do you have any other qualitative data analysis tools that you recommend?
I think this was recommended because of the cost, much cheaper than some of the others, like, subscriptions. Yes. So, and it seems pretty easy to use, just ease of use as well.
Yeah. I think some of the others you have also to pay the whole year sometimes.
$1,000 or something, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And this one you can decide when to stop it. Again, you may want to talk with them and make sure how to kind of retrieve all the data. But it's like dynamic, so you can constantly modify. I can, now I went back and I did a few changes that I will have to undo, but so it's still dynamic and constantly you can update it and use them. Now that I'm not really coding as much, I feel like I'm paying that, but at the same time it's worth it because it's data that is so precious for me. Well, thank you, for being here and let me share this tool with you. Of course, you have my mail. You can ask me anytime. And it's just like try to find something that make your life a little bit smoother and with the coding process, whatever tool it is.
Thank you, Martina. This was a good introduction to Delve.
Thank you, Tammy.
I think didn't NVivo didn't it auto code, or wasn't that one of its superpowers? I don't know. I have not used it. I thought I might have an opportunity to get a copy of it that we have at the business college, but a friend that I was talking to went on sabbatical without hooking me up. So, but I thought it would auto code.
Yes, I've heard about that too, and I think it does. So yeah, it's of course a lot of time that you're investing your data analysis. It took me a while, a long time, but I was also trying to focus on that and being fine with not writing for over the summer and just focusing on that. Maybe something else I wanted to say. You said something and it made me think about something else. Oh, well, what I was is not automatic. I use for those transcript. I use most of the interviews happen on Zoom, but even for those that happen in person, I use Zoom. Even just because it transcribed to me pretty well, and whenever I use the other app, what's the name that transcribes for you?
Otter.ai.
Otter, yeah. So I use the first time I did the interview in person. I use Otter, and then I realized later on that it transcribed free for you for the first 29 minutes, and then what I'm going to do for the last hour and a half. So it does it's saved for you. But if you want to access that extra hour, you have to pay $18. So I said to myself, oh, and I'm going to do Zoom again. When you do use Zoom for an in-person interview, though, you realize that there is the software, I mean, the Zoom doesn't really recognize who is speaking. So, as in Zoom, there is participant, there is a researcher, like there are just the name of the people. So that's something that you have to, when you clean the transcript, you have to do it. But I think it's worth it. It's worth it still. So Otter, I didn't use it. I just went with Zoom.
Makes sense.
But you can pair Zoom with Otter. I remember I think I've never
Didn't
had
do-
a premium
yeah.
account, and you can run the Zoom through Otter, and then it does that for you. It can speaker one, it knows, can tell the difference. I uploaded files to Otter, and it allowed me to upload them, and then it did the transcript for me.
So I've had a lot of success just using Microsoft Dictate and Translate. I just drop the MP3 file in the transcribe and it does it, and it says speaker one, speaker two. It's really clean. I mean, a few things here and there, but I used it for Dr. Gigi's class. I used it for stuff in the summer. I've used it for a few other non-school things. And you just drop the MP3 in there and it's very good. And so I've never done Otter or anything. Everything I've done, I've just used the Microsoft 365 transcribe.
I mean, I have an iPhone, so you can still use it?
It's just the Microsoft. Like, let me see here. I'll pull it up if I can find it. So I'm going to share my screen. So you see that? Somewhere. Yeah. So right
There,
here,
okay.
I have dictate and transcribe, and this comes
just
up,
on
and
Word.
then you just upload an audio file. You can drop in MP3, whatever in there, and it just transcribes it. And I've never had any issues. You could also, you could record. I've never done that for this purpose, but yeah, you get like 23 pages, and you still have to look through it, but it's been really accurate.
Nice.
I've never had any issues.
That's good to know.
So
that would save you from opening up a Zoom.
Right. Well, you have to record. So if I do the Zoom and then I just take the Zoom recording and then I just drop the MP3 in there, you just drag it in. So
it's the same as Otter, but it's Microsoft. So it's just a different tool doing the same exact. The only problem I ever had with Microsoft, it wasn't very accurate, but I've been using it for, I don't know, forever, because I have a lot of interviews that I've had to go through. I feel like I've been in school forever. And every class I had, somebody wanted you to transcribe something. So I've been using a large variety of different stuff. And for years, Microsoft, was not very accurate. It was slow. It was like laggy. And so I have not even thought to look back at this. So thank you very much, Jackie, for reintroducing, because I went over to Otter and I'm like, okay, fine. I'm just going to do the Otter and be done with it. And Otter is really accurate and it's fast, like 2 seconds. Boop, there it is. You're like, what? Really? It's fast.
It didn't take long. I don't know how long your interviews are, but like the ones I had in the summer when I interviewed, I think one of them, almost most of them were almost 2 hours. And it took like 3 minutes. It wasn't, I mean, it wasn't any time at all. But yeah, it was, if you don't have a lot, like obviously Martina, you've had a lot and all of those things, and maybe you have, others have specific needs, but just a basic transcription tool, it's already built in.
And we pay for it with our tuition.
Yep, you do.
I was running a little test to see if it would, if Word would transcribe as everybody was talking. It kind of gave up, so, but this isn't ideal, right? I mean, but it's doing it.
I did that too for my mom, was having, she sometimes has a little shaky in typing, and so I was like, just turn it on and start talking. And so she does. Or I'll do, if I need something that's like I can't copy and paste it, or if I'm in like a book that I'm reading and I need that section, I just hit dictate and I just read it, and then it's all there. I do it all the time.
awesome.
It's great.
I love
Yeah.
that.
But don't use
Great.
any vulgarity. If you use vulgarity, you'll get asterisks. Oh,
That's
don't ask me how I know.
How you freaking know? It said freaking, by the way.
Mhm.
Yeah, try a different one.
No, I'm okay. I'll try it when no one's listening.
Yeah, you'll get asterisks. I'm like, why is this doing asterisks that blip, 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 blip? And I had a good time.
Flipped you. These things don't seem like a huge deal, but when you're having to mass produce a bunch of interviews and do the coding, having this worked out in advance and hearing what other people are doing and what's worked, I think is very helpful.
Yeah, definitely. Because then when you have the interviews and then you need to also look for a tool and you don't have a tool kind of ready for it, it just puts you a little bit, okay, I need to start. Or for example, in my case, I kind of started with Word and I went a little bit Excel. Then finally, I need one. So I went with Delve. So yeah, if you have that clear in your mind early on, I mean, it saves you a little bit. It saves you a little bit less of, what should I use? And yeah, so again, you can give it a try, you can have a trial, and then there are so many out there. When I started looking, I was impressed how so many options there are. You get even overwhelmed, but so yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you for being here, and nice to see you all.
Well, thank you so much, Martina. I got your email. I'm still working on
Oh,
the
yeah,
slides.
yeah.
I get back to you. But
No
I
problem.
really appreciate your taking the time to share your information with us tonight. And also, Rachel, are there any further questions for our two speakers tonight? Seeing none. So we should let everyone go so they can go have dinner and kind of call it a night. All right, thank you all so much. So who did record the meeting so we can share after this?
Oh, I believe Danielle sent an email, said it's
Automatically.
automatically records by itself. So I don't know how, but that's what she said.
It's going 1:47, so it's still recording.
I think when we leave, it'll just stop, and then she'll send it out. I'm assuming after her class tonight.
Yeah, that's good to know. Okay, if I get the link, I will share with everyone and you all should be fine. Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Amazing
much.
time. Amazing
Thank you, all of
presentations.
you.
Stay warm. Good
See you,
night.
everybody.
Bye.
Bye.